Good evening and welcome to coverage here on the red button for BBC Alaba. Our live coverage this evening of Edinburgh against Munster, as Munster, all in black, take the field here at Murrayfield for what's sure to be another entertaining PRO12 match. For Munster, World Cup returnees Conor Murray and Keith Ayres make their first Munster appearances of the season after being named in the starting lineup. The head coach Anthony Foley makes 8 changes to the starting 15 that defeated Ulster at Thornton Park for this week's round 7 clash. Very strong at 9 and 10 with Murray and Keatley, and look out too for Sally and Earls there, some combination at 12 and 13. There's been a late change on the bench. Catherine Sheridan is in. So it's a big night for this Munster side. They managed to get themselves into good position in the table. The 23 points already this season. There's such a good game last weekend against Ulster, winning by 32 points to 28. Edinburgh will wear their change kit, the camouflage colours. And Edinburgh get ready to come out. They've lost 2 on the bounce. That's been a concern. We'll see if Edinburgh can find a way to end that losing run. A warm welcome for these Edinburgh players. Their guard of honour watching on and quite happy to welcome Edinburgh to the field of play. Guard of honour provided by the Royal High Cougars, Kelso and Selkirk. There's the Edinburgh team, and what a front row that is. Scotland's front row, Dickinson, Ford and Nell all come in. Well, and Nell, who scored against the USA, playing all 5 of Scotland's Rugby World Cup matches. It's good. Now look at 15. Blair Kinghorn keeps his starting spot at the fullback. Winger Damien Hoyland retaining the number 14 shirt. Will Hello moves from left wing to outside centre. That's the team that will face Munster. Of course, it is Remembrance Weekend, with preparations just being taken place on the field for a moment of remembrance around Murrayfield. Beautifully observed silence around Murrayfield. Alongside me this evening is John Beattie. John, big evening for Edinburgh. They've lost 2 on the bounce. That doesn't want to be 3 on the bounce.
Exactly, and I think the front row is going to be key, because I can just see Kilcoyne, Casey and Ryan having a go. Vital they keep possession and copy what the Warriors have just done down in Cardiff and just get some points. Every game's tough. This will be no exception.
18-year-old Blair Kinghorn getting ready to get us underway. Facing a formidable Munster side. Munster in the black, Edinburgh in the camouflage. And get ready to get us underway. Taken on the far side. It's a good drive from Edinburgh. Will lose out on the ball. Cross kick, plenty of Edinburgh players back. They've taken to contact. Edinburgh driving on through Greg Tonks. And again, set up. And go down the right hand side. Edinburgh driving again. Sam Aldo-Klein, just a little push. Get the ball across the midfield. Hello, Hamish Watson. Watson has support from Tom Brown. Back again from Klein. Klein through the hands of Ali Dickinson.
Tackle, release back.
And still won't releasing. Klein goes a little kick in behind. It's an easy take for Landon Haver. Once long. Edinburgh back again. It's a little bit of kick and chase. And that kick was caught and then taken it into touch. That's a mistake from Munster.
Yeah, good phase of play by Edinburgh, but key to this is how few players Munster put in the rucks when they're defending. They tried to have maybe 4 Edinburgh players in a ruck, and there's not a single Munster man. They're up on their feet very quickly, so you then got 11 against 15. This is the new look Munster under Foley, and I'm just keen to see what they try and do in their evolution.
Well, it's taken nicely, comes through the hands of Conor Murray. You can see CJ Stander with a headband in, driving in again through Murray, through the hands quickly of Keatley. Centres get involved. That's a good tackle from Blair Kinghorn, fullback on fullback, and Zebo went down. And they're being driven off the ball. Murray gets it out wide. Donnacha Ryan always likes to carry into contact. Hamish Watson leading the Edinburgh charge, has to roll away now. Again from Murray. Keatley with a little clip over. And he's kicked it well.
Yeah, the way Munster have evolved, just simple things like the way they fall. In the olden days, Munster would always fall. Watch this carry. Good tackle, as you say, from Kinghorn. But they always fall towards where the tackle came from. Now they fall away like the French teams to protect, and the Glasgow Warriors do the same thing. I think Munster are looking more efficient just now. They made more ground with that piece of play than Edinburgh did.
So the line out, Rossford with the throw from Edinburgh. See, they're winning 5. Alex Toulis. That's Bresler was the target man. It's not clean ball, but it is ball. See Nell being sent to the side. Nell the carrier. Algo Klein at the base. Bresler going in to protect. It's good driving back though by Munster. And Klein has to get the ball away. Takes the bounce. Just near the 10-metre line.
The truth is, with a huge crowd in a huge stadium, there'd be a different atmosphere, but it's echoing around. You're seeing good rugby without the backdrop of hundreds of thousands of people. But Edinburgh tonight, you said it early on, they have to win this, or else there is a slip in momentum and a change in direction of the way their games have been going, having lost the last 2. They've got to simplify it. They've got to get up the pitch. And again, technically, both teams almost identical game plan. Hit the middle, go down the blind, come back up and then move it wide.
Keatley on the angle, Blair Kinghorn have come forward, and that's going to run and just stop short.
22.
Pretty close to the line, it has to be said from this angle, John.
Well, as long as he's got a foot behind the line as he touches it, well, you'll know, you're the qualified referee. So it was a good piece of. Do you know what it was? It was cool.
Yeah.
He was cool under pressure, this boy.
He could have let that run an extra second or so to make sure. You're right, his foot was there.
Do you know as well tonight, Munster have a lot to make up for what the Irish were like in the World Cup. They were terrible. They were predictable, they were dull, they were one pass out rugby. And you want Munster to play more open stuff.
Kinghorn loses out. He was knocked on. It was gathered by Jack O'Donoghue. Zebo, the advantage is over as Zebo tries to go in, but that's a great take from Kinghorn coming across again. It's fullback on fullback, and he managed to get there and come right across.
Munster looks sharper. They've got a few more tricks. That little kick through, and now it's going to be a scrum down. Munster ball, and you'll get all manner of cheating here from both sides. And I think Rossford might have to be careful. That's a cut under his eye. He's got his head down. Maybe if the referee sees it, he might have to go off. But key couple of minutes coming up. Big scrum, and Munster, they love the set piece.
Okay, let's go.
So
He
Munster,
should be off. He should really be off. He should be careful. He's trying to keep himself hidden.
yeah, just that little streak of blood across the nose. On the opposite side, our referee is David Wilkinson from the Irish Rugby Football Union. Two scrum caps of the Edinburgh props. Dickinson, Ford, Nell up against Kilcoyne, Casey and Ryan. Don't think the referee liked the way they came together, and he'll have a word.
Okay. Two things. Firstly, get your shoulder out so you have something to hit on it. Alright? Secondly, bring your feet up under you so your feet aren't too far back. Let's go again.
Well, even the front rows and no doubt John what he's expecting. It's the next move that will be the interesting one.
Crunch. Bind. No. Set.
That's not steady at all. Free kick given. Munster move it very quickly. Edinburgh set. Conor Murray. Munster just short. That's Dave Kilcoyne driving in. A real threat to the Edinburgh line. That's the other prop. John Ryan driving in. And the referee. Well, if it hits the post and goes against, it is a try. And some great driving in there by Munster. Edinburgh just got caught there from the free kick, and Munster have got themselves ahead.
That's in the DNA of every Munster rugby player. You make yards carrying the ball. Here he is, he goes low, he sees the bottom of the post, he goes down, he touches, the referee sees him touch it, there you are. That's a try. That's really good awareness. But back to the scrum. No one knows what happened there. Free kick to Munster, and that ancestry, the history of just move the ball, bang, hit, bang.
So Keatley with the conversion. So Edinburgh found themselves behind, and Munster, who've got a phenomenal record against Edinburgh. Just watch how the ball gets moved quickly, picked up, driven on. And that's hard to argue with.
And look at how many Munster forwards were out at that first pass. There were 4 of them waiting for where they knew the ball was going, and the Edinburgh defence slow to come round.
So Edinburgh behind. Ryan with the try. So taken by Edinburgh.
Away tacklers.
Well, you saw there, Cornel de Prea was struggling. He was fortunate, Munster coming in and not getting out the way. It's not kickable for Edinburgh. So we're taken by Greg Tonks. An important line out coming up for Edinburgh. Need to win their own ball and put Munster under some pressure in the 22.
They do. Home pitch. Need to get possession, either drive it, move it, middle. A lot on the shoulders of Ross Ford now, and he's been in pressure situations in the World Cup. And this has to be pinpoint accurate, with a couple of forwards lurking with intent in midfield.
Ella's at the back. Toulis moves in. It comes up. Toulis is taken backwards. It's nice cleaning up work by Mike Coleman, the Edinburgh skipper. Hidalgo Klein gets it out onto Nell. Nell driving on. Hamish Watson going in. And see Coleman waits for it, but it'll come inside onto Ross Ford. Ford driving on, just trying to ease Munster back. Tonks comes through the hands. Matt Scott swallowed up in midfield.
Look out for you.
That's Jack O'Donoghue not moving away, and Edinburgh have got a chance to get 3 points.
Before he was penalised, I was going to say look at how quickly the Munster forwards were up, and there was nobody in the breakdown except for Edinburgh people and O'Donoghue, who was trapped on the floor.
Not making enough effort to move away.
I think Munster look as though they think they know where Edinburgh go next. Everything that Edinburgh as a team do, there are Munster defenders waiting right there for them.
Well, Edinburgh struggled against Munster. They did get that great win last season, but last couple of seasons in Edinburgh, Munster have scored 12 tries in the last 2 visits. They've already crossed the line through John Ryan. But Edinburgh got a chance to get points on the board. Sam Hidalgo Klein with the penalty for Edinburgh. Well, that will please Alan Sullivan's Edinburgh up inside the 22 and get a points return.
Yeah, he'll be pleased. The other thing to say about tonight's crowd, doesn't look too bad. It's just such a big stadium. Look at that bottom tier. Pretty well populated. This side of the pitch, there's few people around the sides, a good atmosphere, good game. Munster up for it, they feel they can win this one. Foley was saying that beforehand. Solomon sees this as part of his team's evolution. Edinburgh need to be more direct though, I think.
Well, Edinburgh went in. Now, you've got to feel a bit sorry. Gerard van der Heever, he was almost run into, and that's the problem.
Yes, David.
The referee will have a little look,
Sure.
but
Right.
Dougie Fife went in.
Let's have a look at this. You know, this has got to be intentional, or there's no penalty.
I have to say there wasn't a penalty for me. I don't think there's much he could do. The man ran into him and he was trying to get out the way. He certainly didn't hold him and put him down safely, but certainly at first look, John, I thought it was harsh.
You can't make contact. No,
He's headed in the air. He could have pulled out of that.
he could have put. I agree.
We're in a realistic catching position. Black wasn't, and with the yellow card, black 14.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it's
14.
a difficult one. The referee's right. He could have pulled out of it. He put his arms around him.
Well, 14's being called up. It is the South African in his third season, Gerard van der Heever. I've got to admit, I've a little bit of sympathy for him. The man was coming right towards him, John.
Difficult one. But the rules now are so safe. You know, given what happened last year, was it the Dan Bigger? And various other players, they've got to be so safe. So you have to be secure that if a player is up in the air, he can't be touched. And it's the responsibility of the tackler. You're the qualified referee, but it's the responsibility of the tackler. And you've got to pull out, avoid him, but he actually put his arms around him when he's in the air. Tough one, but that's the call. And he's got 10 minutes enjoying the smell from the brewery.
Played long. Edinburgh try and knock it down, but it's Duncan Casey who recovers. These sides playing in the alternative kits, coming through the hands there of Jack O'Donoghue, driving on David Callahan. So Munster down to 14. Ian Keatley sends it long.
This is the wing to attack. This man's gone.
Fife goes in, taken down. You can see the contact there. It's great from the standoff. Good play from Greg Tonks. Fife. Edinburgh trying to drive. Ronaldo Klein looking for a clean ball. That comes through the bread basket. That's a knock on, unless it's turned over. And it will be a scrum down.
You can hear in the background players shouting release, release. As we watch all these Munsters, that's a knock on. And they're imitating the referee. They're trying to persuade the player on the ground that that's the referee shouting release, therefore get rid of the ball. And also, you can hear players shout hands on or hands off, which is a referee call. So it's modern professional rugby trying to influence the player to make him think it's the referee shouting.
Of course, the referee could take action on that if he so desired as well. So Edinburgh with a yellow card advantage.
Come up, please. Straighten up, please. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Goes down. That's a penalty against Edinburgh. And Nell is struggling.
Number 3, you're on the arm and your feet are too far back.
Well, this is a problem for Edinburgh because that is the Scottish front row. And we couldn't see what happened. It was far side. Nell being criticised for having not a long enough bind with his right arm and his feet way too back. And he'll be used to scrummaging here because the pitch is perfect. He shouldn't have too much of an issue with his studs. They'll have to sort something out.
And the play goes. It's a line out on the 22. Duncan Casey, man from Cork, experienced international player.
Look how slowly they're walking up to you. This is just ticking away at the clock. Look, the forwards aren't even here yet. Here they come, strolling along.
There's no encouragement from referee David Wilkinson. They're going to move on. Here's Casey with the throw. Gone back, Duncan Casey. You just see there, Edinburgh 6, Mike Coleman has to come out the side. Now the ball goes down, ball's available into the challenge goes. Francis Sally. Jack O'Donoghue wears 7 for Munster. He looks formidable in this black outfit. Donegal Ryan, good play from Watson. Dickinson has to move away. Conor Murray, CJ Standard on the pickup. Edinburgh very quick round the ball. Murray again, comes through the hands of Keith Earls. The offload. And for Munster with 14. There's the try scorer, John Ryan. Got a little kick over the top. This might work. Keith Earls is in there. And Edinburgh tried to drag him out and have just done so.
Great play by Munster.
Was it knocked on? Knocked on. Yeah, knocked on.
Well, Edinburgh get a little break there, John, the knock on from Earls.
Yeah, and they'll not be looking forward to this because the scrum's been going so badly, so they've got to put the ball in on their own line. And they were very direct, Munster, weren't they? Mid-ground, picking up round the corner, and well, I don't think that was knocked on. That was knocked back. That was knocked further into Munster's territory by an Edinburgh player.
There's a call from Neil Patterson. So the them will come from Edinburgh. Sam and Algo Klein.
Crouch.
5 Scottish international appearances now.
Bind. Set.
See if Edinburgh can withstand the pressure. They've got forward movement that time. Dupree at the back. And Edinburgh doing enough, and the front rows just coming together.
That's a great statement. That's a statement of intent. Yeah, you're also getting hammered, number one. And number one is Dave Kilcoyne. And that, you know, they've been penalised twice. You get a put in, you march them back. That is great scrummaging. You get a great lift from it as a team when that kind of thing happens. It's funny how you can be in a game when your backs can make breaks and everyone's flying, but if your forwards go forward in a scrum, it just feels brilliant.
Much more confident now. You see the scrum driving on. Watch the left-hand side. You see the props popping up.
That was Dickinson. Dickinson absolutely there, destroyed Ryan. Drove straight, he didn't bore, he drove straight at him, destroyed him.
Edinburgh take, it was Toulis. Then Algo Klein. Scott was the dummy runner. Helou trying to find a way through the black line.
Hands off, Black.
Then Algo Klein. That was good play from Edinburgh, making some ground. Cornel Dupree. Dupree takes some shifting. Dave Foley getting out the way. Tops through the hands of Scott. Helou. Edinburgh have got a man out here if they can get moving. It's a tough one for Mike Coleman, and he's dragged into touch. And Munster are 3 minutes away from coming back to full strength.
Good play. Reminiscent of what the All Blacks tried to do. And you remember the All Blacks, the way they just passed the ball out at 22 against the Aussies in the final. And Edinburgh, I think everyone there assumed Edinburgh would get the ball, kick it miles, make some ground, but they tried to handle. Probably they're a man up. You know, you're thinking, well, at 15 we might just beat 14. And it's funny watching this Munster team, isn't it? Denuded of all the great names you grew up with. From, you know, Paul O'Connell, Donald Callaghan, all these great, Jerry Flannery. This is the next generation.
Scotland lost 13 players in the summer to movement, to retirement. But it's actually very strange to watch a Munster team without Paul O'Connell. He's now plying his trade for too long. Sally into the midfield. Edinburgh hold up. Sally with the offload. Conor Murray. Edinburgh good tackling. Now gets himself back on side. The kick was a delicate one. But when you're down to 14 men, John, that's good play. It gives you the territory.
Yeah, they know that they're probably not going to be able to pass their way up the pitch. While you're a man down, you just get the ball up the pitch and renegotiate when you're up there. I've always loved the way Munster played. There's a tremendous history to what they've all done. Think of the great wins in Europe they've had, the great wins they've had, the great wins over top English teams, and they've got a bite. Munster teams have always had a bite to them.
You've mentioned it already, the fact that Ireland didn't do well in the World Cup. They've almost got that chip on the shoulder. Connacht lead the table, Leinster currently third. A little bit of goings on with Anton Bresler. Away from the ball. Biggie Fife tries to go up, but it's well taken. Zebo then drops it and knocks it out of play. It's been a little bit tetchy in one or two parts of the field.
I think there's a lot at stake tonight. You know, it doesn't sound like it, but I think this is a big game for both these teams. Edinburgh have to get back into winning ways. Munster, you know, Foley said before the game, they've targeted this as a win, and Bresler's he's always getting stuck in, Bresler, I'd say.
White, same for you boys, let's go.
And the scrums would have annoyed the Edinburgh players, wouldn't they? The first two scrums, they're thinking, no, we're going to beat this team in the scrummage. The next thing, Munster get 2 penalties for scrummaging.
So both Toulis and Bresler have been targeted on the line. Edinburgh thought it was Mike Coleman's hand. Fidalgo Klein. And through 5, Heller. That's good movement. Get away, Damien Hoyland.
Look at the Munster men all on their feet.
And they're quick. And they lost 4 or 5 metres there. Hidalgo Klein through the hands of Tonks. Scott trying to make the run. And Edinburgh holding on in there. And again, just a little bit of afters. That's Francis Sally who's been asked to move away. So too is Dave Kilcoyne. Let's listen.
No need for that reaction.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. Yeah, I'm
Yes,
really
well,
very, very sorry. He was just there, and they've ridden out. It was just Siley was in so quickly. Was it on Matt Scott? I can't remember who carried it, but Siley was so quick on him and just held on to that count of 3, and the referee had no option but to blow the penalty. And, you know, it's been Munster. It's been mostly Munster, let's be honest.
Only 3 times in the last 10 PRO12 matches of Edinburgh scored more than 20 points against Munster. They've struggled against the Irish province. Last season's win, the 14-13, was their first in 5 at Thornton Park. Munster have an affinity for Edinburgh. Didn't look straight from our angle. The ball was called. Edinburgh tried to drive on. Edinburgh trying to force them back. That looks like twice. They're having to use it. Conor Murray runs into the arms of Watson and Dickinson. And he was flattened, but he got the ball back. Dave Foley driving on. And O'Haven is just back on the field of play. And it's scrum half at the moment. Now they're all scrum half. Murray gets it on to Dave Foley. Foley driving on. And the referee decides that they've come through.
From the side, number 7.
And they pinged there Jack O'Donoghue.
He's given a couple of penalties away, O'Donoghue. And the judge to come in from the side. Big, raw bone player. Let's have a quick look here. There, track number 7. He's got to come in from the middle. And he goes, well.
Again, on first look, I thought the referee got it right. You see it again. There's almost that little shimmy in there.
He's got to come over in between. He's got to come over the ball, but I don't think he was miles away. I think that was a bit harsh.
That's Dave Foley getting some treatment. Just inside the Edinburgh 22. 24 minutes played. Munster were the only try of the match so far. John Ryan, after 8 minutes, quick tap penalty. Quick tap free kick, I beg your pardon, after the Edinburgh conceded inside their own 22. Ball goes in, taken by Coleman. Dave Foley comes flying through. And Edinburgh's turn now to try and drive on. That's Hamish Watson. This is good for Edinburgh. It's 10 metres. Advantage will come Edinburgh's way. I thought Toulis had disengaged and then came back in, but Edinburgh have the advantage. Matt Scott chasing after it. He was being held back. So the referee will give the penalty.
I have always I don't know if I should say this, but I've always thought about Munster, they'd rather give away a penalty than points or ground. It's almost as if there's a shame in being driven back in a maul or conceding a try. They'd rather give away the penalty. They'd rather give away a penalty in the middle of the pitch for blocking or tugging your jersey back than give away the try. And that was a good maul because that was moving quickly. And then Munster said, well, no, you're not going to embarrass us. We'll give away the penalty and we'll take our chance again at this one. It's just it's a mentality they've got.
There's Hamish Watson coming up at half-time. We'll talk about his targets for both Edinburgh and for Scotland. Cap once, Hamish Watson, for Scotland's sevens player. Interesting character. Now at the back. Dickinson at the front, most forward. Cup looks to have stopped. That was a poor throw. Veronica Ryan will gather.
It's a disease. There must be a Scottish Dutch elm line-out disease.
Well, the chance down was useful for Edinburgh, but it's been taken by Conor Murray. The scrum half was alert. Dave Foley drops off, gets ready to receive. Come into Dave Kilcoyne. See Mel just holding off Cornell Dupree as well. That come from Simon Zeeble. Edinburgh might try and get this in quickly, they do so. That's a horrible pass, and Edinburgh will have to hold on there. Well, it's poor. And Blair Kinghorn was put into trouble by this pass.
Bad pass. This is a bad pass. It's low. He makes a mistake, and that's one of these impossible half volleys. You can't really catch them, and the youngster caught in possession after he'd knocked it on.
Actually, to be fair to him, John, I thought he did well not to give away the penalty because Munster were coming through in number.
Yeah.
I thought he did well to get his body around and protect. Interesting comment about Blair Kinghorn. 18 years old and he's in playing for Edinburgh. Matt Scott said this week that at 18 he was nowhere near ready for professional rugby. He's very impressed with Blair Kinghorn.
Yeah, and I think it's the future. You think back to the 90s and South Africa started that physical development, and then their elite school in Pretoria where they blood test all their players, I think, and everything's very, very targeted at the future. Now we've got it, the Irish will have it, and nowadays the youngsters who come up are very developed. I'd suggest most of these kids have been weight training from the age of 12, maybe younger, and then in specialist systems. So you're not going to be as big as you are when you're 24. When you're 18, he's still got a lot of growing to do. And he's tall, so he's going to be a very big player. And I think tonight, Blake Kinghorn's looked the business for a very young man. 18, no matter what Matt Scott says, is young. There aren't many 18-year-olds nowadays will plug into top-level rugby because your body doesn't fully develop to you. You think second growth spurt, 22.
Kreutz.
6'4", fullback for Edinburgh.
Bind. Set.
Edinburgh were driving and they went too early. Well, there's dissent there from Edinburgh. They're saying that basically the ball's being shown, but it's not being put in the scrum
The first
job.
one was a free kick. Okay, so the second one has to be with a full penalty. They're pushing before the ball comes in. I'll deal with that. No, go away, please. Move away, please. They've got to hold the push. They must wait for the ball. And you also, no, I'm not debating it. You also need to have a word with Terry.
Well, referees have got a hard job. They've got to be dominating, but I think referees now are getting pretty rude to players. I think everyone thinks Nigel Owen's wonderful, but he talks down to players, I think some referees are talking down to players. And I think there's a case, and I would say this as a neutral, there's a case of that ball's hanging around there,
I'm not expecting you to put it in.
and he then put it in. And Edinburgh are the dominant scrum, so Munster will be doing everything they can to get a referee, get a decision.
I can understand Ross Ford's frustration, and I also take your point as well. I think if you're going to get respect as a referee, it's got to be earned, and you've got to treat people. You're in charge, that's fine, but I think you make the point. You've got to talk to people properly. Just break off for a second. That should be a cracking game tomorrow. Join us on BBC Alaba for Glasgow City against Hibernian Ladies. There's live commentary on BBC Radio Scotland also. So David Wilkinson deciding it was a penalty. And Keatley can add 3 points on here. And he does so.
Disconcertingly for Edinburgh, they have scrum dominance, but they're being penalised at the scrum, which, let's just take it face value, the referee's making a call, he'll be thinking he's right. Edinburgh have got their scrum tactics wrong. Edinburgh haven't really made much ground ball in hand, it's been all Munster. This, you know, despite having a man sin bin, Munster are getting bodies in defence, they are disrupting Edinburgh's line out, they're conning Edinburgh at scrum time, and Edinburgh need to get on the gas or they're going to be in trouble.
On to Blair Kinghorn. Kinghorn. There's the winner, Tom Brown.
Hands off, Black!
I confused Tom Brown and Biggie Fife earlier. So used to seeing Biggie Fife wearing 11. And his hands in there.
He's brilliant at that, isn't he?
Yep.
Saili has won 2 penalties just by being that jackal player over the ball. And the only reason these things work is that your supporting players from the attacking team didn't get there quickly enough.
There's a bit of frustration growing in the Edinburgh ranks.
Paul, Edinburgh aren't playing well tonight. They're lacking the zip you need to break down a team like Munster that will never... Munster are one of these sides. They never take their foot off the gas. They'll never have a really bad day. They might be beaten by somebody who's stronger, like the All Blacks. They're always intense, and I think Edinburgh are off the top intensity.
So what to do for Edinburgh? Driven by 7 points. They have to take advantage of a yellow card. Barker Ryan comes up to Dave Kilcoyne. Here's Conor Murray. Murray through the hands of Duncan Casey. CJ Standard, the headband, went ahead and had to come back. Conor Murray through Ian Keatley, tries a little drop. It went backwards, but Edinburgh try and pile in. It's presented. It's taken on by Jack O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue got some purchase this time.
Tackle! Run away, White!
Dave Foley was strong there. Here's CJ Standard. A great record as a try scorer.
Release White!
Here's Ian Keatley. Keatley tried to play it inside, but it went back behind Van der Heeren. Well, it's back there. It was available.
Oh, yeah, that's really clever play. That's clever play.
Bodies all over the place.
Because
on the ground.
that Edinburgh tackler getting up there, number 6, was trying to get out of the way, and he was dragged back. You know what? If we see a replay, we might not, but I think he was dragged back by a Munster player to say, no, stay here, we'll get the penalty.
If I were him putting the ball in, and you hold the push. So all I'll say is, it's good on your
Here
own
we go.
ball.
Watch this.
The
This is
problem is when you
Keatley.
put the ball in.
There's a
I'll
mistake.
deal with that.
Common is there. Common's trying to get out of the way, and Keatley pulls him and keeps him there. Clever.
Also, the referee's on the left there, John. We can see the ball on the right, which Edinburgh were trying to win, but the referee couldn't see it on his side. Interesting too, he's just had a word with Ross Ford. You may have heard that in the background, just saying that he's had a word. And he's told Conor Murray to get the ball in. Conor Murray.
Well, if he has, he should have told him last time.
Yeah.
Because Munster won a penalty.
It went in quickly that time. Edinburgh driving, trying to turn. The ball is out.
Away, White, tackler! Don't dive over 6. Use it!
Keatley. Comes into Donica Ryan. Keatley again. Sally is there. Good tackling from Edinburgh. It's Toulis. Alex Toulis. The ball is called. They're trying to hold him up. Trying to make sure the ball can't come out. And it'll come in. Taken in by Munster. Edinburgh scrum.
Yeah, and as soon as the word maul is called, nobody gets out of there, do they? If it's a ruck, you have to get yourself out as a tackler and let that ball come back. But the maul, every defender stays in for as long as they can. Saili went in, They call them all. They call them all. They know now. We're not. Whatever happens, we don't let go. And crucially, when he went down there, Dupree as well didn't let go. Doesn't have to let go because it's a maul.
Yeah, okay, bring it under that, David. Yeah, fair enough.
All Black under 20, wearing 12. Capped twice for the full All Blacks as well. And the additions for this Munster side.
Okay, seconds in, please.
That's Saley coming in from the Blues. Peter McCabe's not playing tonight. Tom O'Leary's another new signing here to drop out too. Jordan Coughlin is on the bench. This Munster rebuild, but they're still a strong side. Edinburgh will get that this time.
Number 1, you're straight down.
Oh, you heard it there, Dave Kilcoyne goes straight down.
Yeah, 2 against black and 2 against white. No, sorry, one penalty against the tight head and one pushing early as a team. Yeah.
Up to the halfway line come Edinburgh. You've mentioned it, John. Edinburgh haven't played well. If they go down at the turn, just 7 points down, is that a positive thing?
They can turn it around. I think Solomons will have a go at them. Arrow double black was the call. And I don't think that'll be a line-out call because Tonks can't call the line-out, so it must be what's happening from this. The trouble with calling a code is you've got to win the ball at the line-out and then play. Let's see what arrow double black is.
Goes forward. To make the throw. Edinburgh clean that time. Much better. Comes through Tonks. Tonks on the crash.
So the arrow's the crash. Arrow's the crash. Double black must be. I bet it's. Oh, right, okay.
That Scott was the arrow on that occasion. That's a poor pass, but Edinburgh get it out wide. And then
Hoyland's good.
He always seems to make just that extra yard or two. Edinburgh again. Perhaps it was positive. Edinburgh have been. Comes through the hands of Matt Scott. Heller outside him. Scott trying to find him. The ball went backwards. Nell scooped it up. Comes through from Greg Tonks. That could have been a turnover. That's good work from Ross Ford to protect. Coleman taken down by Dave O'Callaghan. That seemed to drift in there quite a while for Blair Kinghorn. Kinghorn gets it out wide onto Hoyland. Hoyland tries to get past Earls. And Algo Clyde, some of the passing from Edinburgh is just too close to the deck. The preventative refereeing calls as this one comes out. Cornell Dupree into contact, almost ran over Van der Haven. There's Nell into Bresla. Plenty of ball but not too much room to run. Algo Clyde, he's forward into Bresla gets the gap. It's slow, but it is progress. Jack O'Donoghue has been pinged again. We'll try the drop goal. They know the penalty's coming and they'll kick.
I'd like to see this again because O'Donoghue's been penalised relentlessly and he'll be claiming that he was trying to get out of the way. We know that all sides do this, not just Munster, but when...
Number 7, rolling into the 9. That's the second time he's done it. You need to have a word with him. We also had the problem with number 1 at the scrum. Second time. You need to have a word with him. Yeah, okay, I'll take a look. Yeah, listen, I'll take a look. Just talk to your team for me.
Okay, I think he's talking about Cornell Dupree, who did run into Van der Haven with the elbow, but this is the penalty. So there's the tackler. Now the allegation is he rolls deliberately into the scrum half here.
Well, he certainly wasn't rolling to the side, John. He was rolling backwards. And I think you can understand why the referee had gone with that. So Van der Haven...
And just to tell people, sorry Paul, players do what they're coached to do.
Yeah.
You know, if that is a tactic, then that is a tactic they're coached to do, and that's to slow down the scrum half.
So they get pinged for the penalty.
Blame the coach.
Blame the coach, yeah. Sam Hidalgo Klein. Bring Edinburgh within 4. And for the first half in which Edinburgh haven't played particularly well, the 4-point gap was quite satisfying.
You're right. Given they've not played well, a 4-point gap is satisfying, because aside from scrum dominance, despite giving away penalties, I don't think Edinburgh have dominated anything. The lineups have been scrappy. Munster look industrious.
Another prayer brings it down. Edinburgh just want to take care of this and get it knocked out of play. It's the first taking care of business. Sam Klein just checking time and happy with a half time in which Edinburgh haven't really done too well. They conceded the try. John Ryan going over the line, just a second try, 53 appearances for the Munster number 3. And he led the charge and just got the ball down against the base of the post. You can see him there explaining to the referee that he'd done enough. It's not been pretty, but it's close, and much more to come. Join us for the second half. The half-time scoreline from BT Murrayfield. Edinburgh 6, Munster 10. Welcome back to the English language coverage here of BBC Alaba of the Guinness PRO12 match between Edinburgh and Munster. Edinburgh trailing by 10 points to 6 against the Munster side, who have been playing strong rugby in that Munster style of theirs. And Munster in the last 4 years, well, they've been first, third, sixth. Last season they were third. Strong Irish province looking for a win here. Maybe the 21st PRO12 win against Edinburgh.
Great skill.
Cornel Dupree. Dupree again. He just ran into Alex Toulis there. You can see Dave Kilcoyne trying to battle across. And the referee not happy at that, the way he came through. Penalty.
Well, he came in from the side.
And don't charge in.
Much of what Andy Robinson used to coach as a forwards coach was kicking the ball in a ruck. If the ball's in the ruck, go ahead and kick it. But there's Kilcoyne coming in, and he ends up going more to the side there. And that's what he's penalised. You can't start putting sideways pressure on players, or else everyone can do it. Munster are very good at disrupting the opposition when they've got, especially tonight, slow rucks. They're in there trying to disrupt it to make it impossible. Because the worst possession is slow possession. The good possession is you're going forward, bang, ball comes back, defence is running backwards, therefore you're going forwards. But once it's slow, they're all lined up, and the ball comes back to you, and they're up in your faces. So slow ball is one of the big issues in rugby, and Munster great at disrupting it.
Well, they got Nell at the back. They were lucky. You see the hands of Matt Scott into Hamish Watson. And we're looking to start this half brightly. Mike Coleman being held up by CJ Stand-up. Cornel Dupree is the dummy. Comes back on to Matt Scott. Scott hauled down by Dave Foley. Hidalgo Klein. And the pass comes out. But Damon Hoyland, it's the worst kind of ball for a winger. It's a standing start. And they try and drive through. Hidalgo Klein tried to snipe down the side, but he'll run out of ground. Very efficient from Munster.
Yeah, Edinburgh though a little bit more growl to the way they're playing. Every team starts the same way, don't they? Line up, bang up the middle, round the corner, then switch it back. And Hidalgo Klein just didn't get away with this. Edinburgh, you feel, have to start scoring here. And I think Munster will know that Edinburgh are going to come out tougher. It's going to be a good next 10 minutes.
Casey throws. Neatly done.
Hold back.
They don't play fancy rugby, do they? They say, well, actually, we'll give it to you in your 22. You'll kick this out, we'll get a line out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is how you make 20 metres without trying. You get the ball in your own half, you whack it long, they kick the ball to touch, you get the line out. You take the impetus out of everything the opposition's doing. That's just clever, boring rugby, but it's clever.
It's a good kick away by Claire Kinghorn. Edinburgh struggling to disrupt this Munster line out. Look around, Dave Foley. Available in again, it was Dave Foley. That time here's CJ Stander off the back, Conor Murray. Look around, little flick pass onto his fellow lock Foley. Well, it was short for Ian Keatley.
Away, blank by 7.
Keatley did well to turn. Through the hands of Kilcoyne.
It's still that Irish blueprint of bang up. You know, the All Blacks don't do as much banging up as this. They do a lot more fancy offloads like that.
CJ Stander. On to Dave Foley.
Release 3.
Well, Edinburgh tried to hold him up. Well, the maul was called by the referee, so it's going to be Edinburgh's ball.
And that man on the ground, that man there knew exactly what he was doing.
Hamish Watson.
He knew exactly what he was doing. He's in the maul. We mentioned it early on. He doesn't have to roll away because it's not a ruck, and he can just stay there because that's a collapsed maul.
Don't get involved with Dilly's head. Right? Don't get involved. Are we happy? Yes. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Dave Denton and
Right,
co.
boys, let's get this set.
Watching in from the stands here at Murrayfield. Just wants to get back playing. Dave Denton moving again.
Bring those feet up.
Most of his Edinburgh teammates.
Crouch. Bind.
And the scrum has been a source of all sorts of jiggery-pokery so far tonight. But fairly clean from Edinburgh. They'll drive on. Cornel Dupree off to Hidalgo Klein. The offload not good enough from Edinburgh. That's got been driven back by Sailing. Hidalgo Klein. And over. It's a simple one for Zebo.
Hold back.
Kinghorn across. Well, they did well to gather and get back.
No hands, it's a rock.
Hidalgo Klein. Two-less. Hidalgo Klein again. Simon Zebo. You can hear the call from CJ Stander. He wanted it. He took him down. There's a turn. Keatley from Murray. Long angle ball. And Dupree gathered well. He's got Damien Hoyland outside him. There's the offload onto Hoyland. Hoyland, Cornel Dupree is back with him. Hoyland's just bursting through. Taken down by Stander. Not the best running from Edinburgh so far. Through the hands of Tonks onto Nell. Edinburgh can try and get this out wide. It went through Helu. Watson gets it through onto Tom Brown. Tom Brown battling his way through. Helu could score in the corner and has. What a cracking try from Edinburgh. Just how they wanted to start the second half. Wonderful movement from right to left. Hoyland set it up, and it's finished on the other hand by William Haler.
Right.
Grounding you're happy with, just check touch.
We're going to watch this. Dupree with two glorious offloads. Again, credit to the coaches. You've coached to practice that. So it was Dupree coming down this near side. Ball went right to left through the hands with speed through Nell. And this is the key moment we're going to look at. I didn't think Edinburgh looked as though they were going to score a try, but that, to me, is a score. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Try looks good.
Hello. Scores for Edinburgh for the first time on a fourth appearance. And Edinburgh have the lead at the start of this second half. It was great rugby, John.
They deserve that try. They deserve that try because first half was all Munster. Second half, Edinburgh. This is great play. They moved it right to left as they were seeing it. And there was that attack, as you said, Brown made he made 2 or 3 tackles, gave it to Helu. He had to run round a couple of plays. That's good rugby.
Well, the kick's not an easy one. Here's Helu, the Tongan international, scoring for Edinburgh. You see, just inside the touchline. for Sam Hidalgo-Klein. It's a tough kick, and he hits the post. He's unlucky. But Edinburgh have the lead, and I guess, John, any try that you score, and both your wingers are involved, both have made good ground.
Good
it's
point.
attractive rugby.
Good point. It all came from, if you think about it, Blair Kinghorn had to deal with a really tricky bounce, and then they set up an attack down the right-hand side, and it was Dupria out on that right wing with that little offload that made that try. Then it, as you said, went right wing, left wing.
We have 7 white.
Maybe they've changed, maybe they've said, let's go wing to wing, let's go wide.
Tonks, towering kick back there. Ronan O'Mahony inside the 22. He tries it, and just comes straight back. Edinburgh looking to make some ground. Oh, it's great running from Tom Brown. It's a swashbuckling performance in the second half from Edinburgh so far.
That went back, play on.
Advantage.
Oh, ref.
Well, that's right in our line of vision, John. That's right in front of us.
I may be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that went just back.
Knock on here.
I don't know if we'll see it again, but Edinburgh playing with a different, altogether different pace, aren't they, second half?
Dave Kilcoyne is replaced by James Cronin.
Sit here.
And it presents Munster with a different problem. Referee's angle, I guess. But Munster now have to defend in a slightly different way if Edinburgh are going to come at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, open up. Let him in, please. Open the shoulder right.
Anthony Foley, I was chatting to him beforehand because I know this makes me sound really old. I played against his dad.
Stand up, stand up, stand
his
up.
dad's
stand
a lot
up.
older than me, but I played against his dad 2 years running, and he was saying how stressful coaching these teams.
Sorry, this isn't continuing. Open it up, let him in. Let's go.
You're saying how stressful it is, and you can imagine, can't you? You take over this incredible team called Munster, and you're a young guy just retired. I think he said he retired when he was 35, 36, when he wanted to give the game up, and then the wheels come off the wagon a bit. And the coaches sit up there, the blood pressure must be through the roof, heart rate through the roof, and you can do nothing about it. Coaches can't. Look at that scrum being destroyed.
Well, the feed was squint to boot. Kinghorn, good hands, finds some room. He's going to be taken down by Dave Foley.
I'm impressed by him for an 18-year-old Kinghorn. Oh!
They've pinged Edinburgh going in off their feet.
You don't need to shout at me, though. Number 2 off his feet.
Ross forwards. I'm going to go on a limb here and say David Wilkinson is not Ross Ford's favourite referee.
It must be hard coming back. I remember as a player, you come back from something that was elite, whether it's a British and Irish Lions tour or...
I called ball out. I'll call it louder if you want.
That's banter, is it?
That's hard to argue with on that occasion.
So back to Ross Ford, you played in the World Cup. It's actually quite hard to come back to your bread and butter rugby. Everyone says how important it should be. But as a player, you're trying to play at the highest level, so you shouldn't admit to it, but it's true that when you come back to this, it's not the same, and you feel a little bit detached.
Something else the coaching staff have to deal with. Almost 52 minutes played. Here's Ian Keatley. Well, that one is wide.
Yeah. He didn't hit that one correctly, did he? Not that I would know, but it didn't fly. You know the way if they're perfect, they fly exactly end over end backwards. That was like a little eel lost somewhere in some river in the middle of Africa. What's this ball?
You can hear it off the tee as
Look
well.
At it.
That just shuggled left and right. That's a rare thing. Ian Keatley hasn't missed too many. 876 points into tonight, and only 35 points of those are from tries.
Play on, no,
Cornell Dupree.
It bounced.
And that is going to be a forward. Just released out the arms of Cornell Dupree.
Yeah. When they make the film one offload too many, that will be in the opening titles. Because it wasn't on, was it? He didn't really have support. I don't think Hoyland... Was it Hoyland? I'm not sure Hoyland was exactly with him.
Hidalgo Klein was trying to break with him. You can see he looked, he saw.
He tried, yeah. He tried. Hidalgo Klein. No, he tried. My mistake, he tried. But he's had a good game, hasn't he?
But you make a good point there, John. Part of it at this level, as you say, as you go up, trying to become the international player, is that when do you hold, when do you give?
Yeah, it's just... And I think Glasgow Warriors have tried it. They offload sometimes, all the time. There'll be phases where they're just trying these offloads. And if they work, they work. And I don't think you can blame a player for trying. I can't blame your player for trying. But sometimes you... It was a bad... He made a bad offload. Let's be honest, it wasn't a great offload.
Good.
Key bit of the game coming up.
And we're yet to go to the bench. James Cronin on. There's a front row replacement.
Bind. Set.
Well, again, it's tickled down the Munster side, and Edinburgh will get the penalty, driving the ball through, and up go Munster.
This will be what's really annoying the Edinburgh players, because there's no doubt if they're given a fair crack at this Munster pack, they'll shove them back in the scrums, and yet they've given away 2 penalties. You know, Ross Ford, I really rate him as a player. I know some people have their doubts. I've always rated him. He's got great heart. His throwing in's got much better, and fundamentally that's a really good scrummaging front row.
15 right. 15. 15.
Well, it's a change for Edinburgh, where Kinghorn is going to be replaced by Dougie Fife. And that young man can certainly be happy with the way that he's played. It's a second Edinburgh start, third Edinburgh appearance. And his side are ahead as he comes off the field.
Open up, Black. Okay, Black will stay there, you step right.
Taken by Toulis. Edinburgh have it at the back. We'll move it away quickly. Sam Hidalgo Klein. Edinburgh trying to break through and support. Number 12 is Matt Scott. Tonks held on. That was a good decision. And again, making ground. Toulis. Well, basically you can see the Munsterman is offside, deliberately so, and there is a yellow card for the centre.
Well,
it's repeated infringement, tackler's not rolling away.
Well, I think that's harsh. It's obviously it's a Munster issue that tackle's not rolling away. I thought Bresler was holding him in.
We're in the red zone, he didn't roll away, it's a yellow card.
Yeah, he's shaking his head now. I'll need to watch this again. Now, either Bresler holds him in, or he genuinely... That's him making the tackle. He's down the ground.
There's no attempt, John.
But he's being held. Well, he is trying to roll away. He's being held by Bresler.
I think for the first 5 or 6 seconds there was no attempt to get Bresler off him. And I think that's what's drawn the referee's ire.
Well, the thing is, he was underneath it. Well, I would back him. I think he was underneath the Edinburgh player. What can you do?
The referee is the sole arbiter. Edinburgh didn't score any points the last time. So the New Zealand is off. Surrey is off. And Edinburgh have a chance to extend the lead here. Just under 24 metres out. Well, it's one you would expect him to get, and he doesn't disappoint. Sam Hidalgo Klein, Scottish internationalist. You can see some of the younger guys here watching on. They were part of the card of honour earlier. Here's Mario Sagario, the Uruguayan prop, on for his debut. Try scorer John Ryan was off.
Yeah, young Blair Kinghorn's been under the eye of Chris Patterson doing his kicks here, Edinburgh Academy captain. Some good break. Oh, another little, see that backhand flick?
Advantage knocked on.
It's Matt Scott trying to get to Willie Haler.
Advantage over.
The advantage is over just as the kick was made. It was a horrible kick from Keatley. That's a good offload. Duprea on to Nell. Tonks is standing over. Comes into the midfield. Oh, Sam Hidalgo Klein. That was actually being aimed at Dougie Fife. And Greg Tonks got in the way. Trying to reset the standoff. And just found himself in the wrong place.
Yeah, they were trying to reset with a group of forwards down towards this touchline. I'm enjoying this game because it's not full of big names. It's not, it's not a massive crowd, but it's a good contest. Two teams giving it full blast. Snatched at that, didn't he? That wasn't meant for him. But I think it's been a game where Munster have been in it quite a lot. But Edinburgh in the second half, I think, have ascendancy. If they can keep doing what they've been doing, they'll win this match.
Wins against Munster, hard to find. Last home win against Munster, September 2011. It was a 15-point margin on that occasion, 29-14. And the scrum is a bit of a mess once more. So in Pro12 terms, Connacht have only one defeat. They're top of the table on 28 points. Munster would join them should they win and get a bonus point as well. Scarlets defeated for the first time this season. They went down 19-15 at Leinster last night.
Let's go, boys.
So Scarlets second, Leinster third. Lads got to 21 points today with their win down in Cardiff. 35 points to 30, a real thriller.
Crouch! Bang! Set!
I think the referee's taken too long to allow that to settle.
Time's off. When it's your pudding, you're absolutely fine. When it's their pudding, you're not. Okay? You've left me nowhere else to go. If it happens again, it's 10 minutes. Number 3, pulling down.
Okay, all right, you're saying, yeah, well, tight heads, just if nobody understands, tight heads generally try to lower the side of the scrum that the ball's being put in, if it's not your putting. If people get me, you're trying to make it harder for the opposition to hook the ball, and therefore you bring their loose head as low as they can, so when they look in, their hooker's got to bend more to hook the ball back, and that's what the referee's accusing him of doing, taking the tight head down. On his own ball, of course, he's up high, and he's trying to be powerful, and his loose head's being lowered by their tight head.
So part of life's great dance in the scrum. CJ Stander driving on.
Tackle, run away, White!
Still wants to play with 14. And they do not want to concede. Conor Murray through the hands of Keatley. Keatley onto Earls. Earls runs into trouble. That was Ford and Coleman together. And they've driven them back slightly with CJ Stander. Tries to regain the ground. Conor Murray. Well, he hit that into the Edinburgh player. He was slow to get up. And he's lost forward.
Play on, play on.
That's the replacement, James Cronin.
Run away, White.
Cronin, the Irish international player. Well, the ball is coming back, and Edinburgh have got a man in there, and the referee is going to have a look.
If you put yourself on that side, you've got to get away.
And Ross Ford again.
Post ball.
And Keatley will go for the points. And Ross Ford
being held. Look at the man holding his jersey. He was being held by, this is the current trend, and you get caught in a ruck, you try to get out. I actually don't think many players will deliberately stay in the ruck. Neither Munster nor Edinburgh players. They'll be on the fine line, but they'll not try and stay in the ruck to block the ball because it's a penalty. But nowadays the trend is to hold the player in. The attacking players from both sides cheat like crazy.
There's Ian Keatley. It's his last one. No mistake from there. Yeah, they talk about you've got to make an effort to get away. And be almost, you've got to almost act then, John, to show that you're desperately you're thrashing. But it's harder to say when you've got a 19-stone lock lying over your belly.
The old WWF wrestling with a man under the... Well, no, it was the old wrestling, the fake stuff on ITV in the olden days, where the bloke who'd been pinned down was jumping up and down with his back on the canvas, trying to pretend he was getting up. And I think that's where we're heading. Con the referee.
Taken by Dupree. Number 8 gets the offload. Tom Brown. Hello driving in, and Algo Klein. And we'll keep it tight.
Backwards, backwards.
Went backwards, it wasn't clean. Hello, back to Algo Klein. Through on to Tonks. Matt Scott, Edinburgh just trying to get somebody in space. No credit, Hamish Watson. A lost cause, just unknown to him. Here's Matt Scott. Scott with the offload, trying to break through. Here's Diggy Fife. It's Toulis trying to drive on. Toulis, 6'7", man from Brisbane. He spotted the gap and trying to get it out wide. Here's Dupree. Dupree's got Brown with him. The offload. It's Nell, scooped it up well. Edinburgh attacking again. Tonks, 10 playing 9.
Away now.
Edinburgh into contact. Dupree and Algo Klein is back. Here's Matt Scott. Goes for the gap, taken down.
Roll.
Edinburgh bang in the centre. Hoyland. You can see there the little skip step of Dougie Fife, hoping a gap would emerge. Dupree. Halo trying to go up and over the middle. Edinburgh again trying to break. Hoyland, good tackling from Keith Earls. But Edinburgh are making a little bit of movement. Here they come, Matt Scott. Saw the gap, here's the offload.
They've been practicing that, Edinburgh, haven't they? That offload.
Brilliant. Here come Edinburgh again, trying to drive on. It's the well positioned and set up. And Algo Klein goes for the little ball through. It was read by Conor Murray. The idea was a good one. The execution didn't quite work.
The idea was a gamble, and the gamble didn't pay off. The All Blacks, I think, have started a craze with these out-the-back flicks, and that was straight into the hands of Conor Murray. And it wasn't going to be backs chasing the ball either, it was forwards. It was a gamble, it was the wrong move. Good game, 1 point game.
Just under 5,000 inside Murrayfield. And, well, it gets stated almost every time, but a crowd of this size in a stadium the size of Scotstoun, the atmosphere would be electric. The ball has gone forwards. Matt Scott disappointed there.
I was going to say, I think Matt Scott and Keith Earls have had quite quiet games. This is a move, it's all going very well, long pass. Yeah. Maybe the pass was too long. Maybe that was it for Tonks then Scott? They were going to hit up in the middle. It is amazing now, isn't it, how much longer the passes from 9 now. Even that first, the Munster try, it was a much longer pass from 9. And that set up, it was Ryan, wasn't it, for the try? So it was that longer pass.
And I used to play, John, I used to play at 9. It would take me about 3 passes to try and get that distance. Yeah. I mean, now the players, I mean, the preparation, the technique, I mean, it's... Especially, I mean, in all these positions, 9, you've got to whip the ball so quickly.
I understand this is in the front row. This isn't continuing. Now get it set. Let's go. No, don't.
Munster back to full strength. They've had 2 yellow cards in the match. Edinburgh blemish free so far. The referee's patience with the front rows is wearing thin.
Bind.
KRC, what does that mean? KRC, KRR to the right, kick to the right. We'll never know. there's going to be a penalty.
Well,
Pull them down. No, move away. Pull them down.
well, you can see Edinburgh have made a change. It's big John Andres who's on, and he's finding problems as well.
Andres, we've discussed before, does... Oh, let's listen to this.
If I was Edinburgh, John, I'd be taking off those forwards.
Repeated infringement at the scrum. Okay. Tight head pulling down. Walk to the side now.
Well, let's see what we can see.
Well, you know what we're seeing. I've got to be honest to viewers, I find it really, really hard. You've got to be fair, so you can't just always say that your person is being penalised incorrectly. But I find it really hard to make up my mind when I watch these scrums who's at fault. I'd love to pretend otherwise, but I honestly don't know.
Here's Ian Keatley to give Munster the leads. Well, what a kick that is. So Ian Keatley restores lead once more to Munster. Just over 12 minutes to play. Nassi Manu is coming on for Edinburgh. As you see Anthony Foley and the Munster backroom staff. Changes for Edinburgh. And Mike Coleman gives way. Still finally set. Edinburgh and Munster. Edinburgh have been on the receiving end of 2 thumpings from Munster at home, both at Megatland and Murrayfield in the last couple of years. Confirmation that Scanner also on for Munster. Conor Murray. And Dupree awaits, gathers. The fight for the offload. Sport securing the ball. Nassi Manu is a big unit. Rose Ford goes in, tries to drive in past James Cronin. Cronin wearing 17. The ball is called, the ball is collapsed in, Edinburgh took it in.
The exact reversal of two of what happened to Glasgow last time, to Edinburgh last time. Edinburgh came blind, they do this, don't they? They'll win a ball in 15, they'll then come to the touchline, then they'll try and get a wider hit out into the middle, and then some kind of back attack, and that hit Ross Ford. He was quite upright. He was caught. He was caught and he was held up. And said it twice before. Once that lovely word maul is called, the defenders know we don't release this ball at all. Foley, I liked him when I chatted to him in behind there. Just seemed a nice open character, friendly. I was asking him how you defend mauls, and he was telling me how they've changed the way they fall in contact. It's just, you know, it's good to speak to somebody who'll tell you things.
That's the mark. That's the mark.
He probably didn't know I was kind of blather about it. On here though.
He's left the mark.
All is fair. Simon Zebo watches on. You see there 11 running O'Mahony. 32nd appearance for Munster.
I've watched, there's a fair bit of video of Munster training online, and they push a lot of sleds, these American football sleds with spikes. They push them as if they're knocking back linebackers. A lot of groundwork like judo. Very, very, you know, body on body training for a long time.
Find the ball. Use it.
Ball is out. And Albert Clyde. Good scrum half play. Well, he wasn't fully tackled, so he didn't have to release him. Well, I think Edinburgh are frustrated here. And I think Sam Hidalgo Clyde, from first view from here, has a point.
Okay, well, let's watch this. Here's the tackle. He's got to release him, and he never released him. He's got to release him, and he didn't. You can make the tackle, everybody watching, you can make the tackle, and once that bloke goes to that, you've got to pull your arms away, then come back in. And he just kept nibbling away for the ball, and the referee's right.
Just goes to show, John, you see it from one angle, but the referee's in another.
No,
and fair play to the referee, he was well positioned.
Yeah, and it's hard, these things are always hard to call. What's that?
No idea.
What's the headphone? Oh, the headphones
They'll
will be
be
to protect his ears.
Protect the noise.
His or her ears.
Ears on. Nice hat too. So changes being made. David Callahan is off. And comes Roman Copeland, experienced back row player. And now Scannell with the throw. That's clean. Conor Murray plays it across.
Tackle, release White.
CJ Stander into contact from Keatley. Not run too often this evening, Keatley. The offload was to Cronin. Seeley. Conor Murray trying to get there. Edinburgh driving through. Conor Murray just off his knees onto Donnacha Ryan.
He's a tough character, isn't he, Donnacha Ryan? He just does the basics well.
Edinburgh again trying to hold up. The maul is called, but they're driving forward. And Dupree have been told to get his hands off Simon Zebo. Zebo, no natural winger and fullback.
No balls there.
But it comes, head down, driving on, Dennis Hurley. Charlie Dickinson trying to make sure he turned. Conor Murray through the hands of Dave Foley. Will send it out long. It was dropped, but it went backwards according to referee. Murray again, out wide. Here's Keatley trying a little clip kick in. He's going to take the bounce. It's well read by Edinburgh. Greg Tonks.
No hands back.
Edinburgh trying to get this back. Look at that black line already pouncing. Oh, Edinburgh have been driven back. That was a poor ball.
Do you know, I was looking at them and I thought to myself, there's somebody who doesn't want to carry this ball.
7.
And he spent a long time with his hands on the back of the ball, at the back of the ruck, and he knew that if he passed it to Ross Ford, he was in goal, then it was going to be trouble. It should have been a pick and go or wait for the scrum half to get in there and get the ball up in the pitch.
Waddy Grant is on.
Let's go.
Hamish Watson.
You feel now Munster squeezing, playing the simple stuff.
Clock stops.
Smash up rugby, little delicate pops. They're not giving the ball away easily.
Bobby there, please.
I think they've now got slight scrum dominance that nails off.
73-36, Wilco.
That's accurate, okay, thank you.
73-36.
Oh, no, it's just checking the time. Sorry.
He was thinking that's not the score.
Okay.
Absolutely wiped out.
That's a bad bit of play by Tulis.
Yeah.
You know, he should have taken that. He should, well, unless there was a call. But he put Ross Ford in an impossible position.
Let's go. 10 on.
Get the feeling John Edinburgh cannot concede,
To the left.
or it could be game over.
Perfect.
I agree. And they might just fancy their chances now, Munster, given that WP Nell is off. And the side of this scrum, Paul, will be key to the balance for the rest of this game. Can Andres hold his tight head up?
Crouch.
Will Munster try and drive it?
Bind. Set.
See Jordan Coughlin there. Flank forward nearest to us. Again, the ball is placed in rather than anything else. Copeland will let his hands in there. He goes in the second time,
Ball's out, play on.
and ball was out.
Conor Murray's a good player, isn't
Hands
he?
off, White.
Clever.
Right feet. No.
Oh, you can say Edinburgh were arguing. That comes into Niall Scannell. Now Edinburgh want to try and hold this up. If they can hold up the maul, Edinburgh will get the put in here. They have to put everybody in there. The ball comes in. The ball is available. And it's come back on the Munster side. Conor Murray, well, the advantage penalty. And it's going to be Greg Tonks. Well, referee might have a look at this.
Time's off. Jim, can you just put that up just to make sure I get the right number?
Look,
and
he's got,
sure it's 10.
He's got one hand
Can
in
we
his
show
pocket.
that last play, guys?
Yeah, he's offside and he snapped out of the scrum half hands. Yeah, it's 10. No,
He didn't, well, he didn't touch the ball.
That's it.
No, but he slapped the arm, didn't he?
Oh, you could see him going after the arm.
Going forward. I call use it first. You can't go for a second drive. If I call use it, you've got to use it.
Well, David Wilkinson has not made himself too popular.
Well, the other thing too, the referee shouted use it to Munster, and they didn't use it in the first scrum. Anyway.
Scrummage, play. Let me ref.
Well, Edinburgh are going to finish the match with 14 men. They're 2 points down. And rest assured, Greg Talks feels hard done by. Well, there's a mistake from Munster. You don't see that too often. Free kick, Edinburgh.
Yeah, they did that deliberately. I can see Scott Hastings to my right, the ex-Edinburgh player, jumping up and down. They did that, got it back. This is the... Ooh, he's going to kick away again. I thought they would counter.
Ian Keatley has it. Keatley. It's not a great kick. And Edinburgh got a chance to get moving here. Here's Dougie Fife. Edinburgh have got to find a way to get up around about the 10-metre line at least. And then look for a potential penalty.
They come to the blind, as we said, they come to this near side, then they'll try and have that one hit up open, then they'll try and get a back attack or something.
Munster flying in, Hidalgo Klein.
Here we go.
Manu's come into play. Beg your pardon, Helu's come into play 10. Cornell Dupree gets it out. Tom Brown's had a good game. Cornell Dupree has been named as man of the match. He's going to be the Edinburgh try scorer. And they're trying to find a way through. Ball is coming back on the Edinburgh side. Cronin took a while to get away. Edinburgh started to get into the Munster half.
No, backwards.
The ball was backwards. Hidalgo Klein required protecting. Cornell Dupree. Edinburgh again coming blind. They've got to be careful here, Edinburgh. They want to turn the ball over. Cornell Dupree, that was high. Dupree rode it.
Good line speed by Munster.
Quick, chopping at the ankles that time. Edinburgh, Cornell Dupree dragged down by Jordan Coughlin. Hidalgo Klein, Edinburgh simply cannot find a way to get through at the moment. There they go. Helu sends it out wide. It's a tough one for Matt Scott. Great offload. Here's the Tongan again. But Edinburgh have lost about 10 metres here. The ball is coming back. Hidalgo Klein gets the pop up. There's good play from Roddy Grant. The ball again. Well, Hidalgo Klein is being dragged in front of the referee, and the referee did nothing. Hidalgo Klein. Edinburgh, they're going into contact. There's not enough camouflage jerseys there. Roddy Grant. Grant goes again. What an ending to the game. Edinburgh trying to find a way through.
It's a brutal game. I'm just watching some of these hits now. They're utterly brutal.
Tom Brown into contact. Into the final minute almost. Anton Bresler lays it back. And again, Hidalgo Klein. It went backwards and it pinged into, and that is forward. That's Ali Dickinson.
Yeah, it's not gone Edinburgh's way, has it? This last few minutes, this is two teams fought backwards, and this is he just lost control of the ball, so it's always at the mistakes. I think fundamentally, Edinburgh, what's he saying, is clear as day?
Well, I think the problem, Hidalgo Klein, he claims, was being held twice, but Munster, let's be honest, will take the scrum, probably win the scrum.
Yeah, and it's a minute to run down, a couple of hits up. Two pods of four forwards.
Hands off with the head then. It's a head injury, you're 13. Go away.
Well, John Andres being told to go away. Well, Edinburgh will feel a little hard done by, but at the end of the day, 2 yellow cards to Munster, just 1 to Edinburgh. Well, Hillary, I think will have to come off.
Okay. Yes, it is indeed, yeah.
But it's a mirror in the right eye.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, he'll have to go off.
Water, lads. Let's go, please.
Andrew Strauss will come on
Time
for
off.
Edinburgh.
Time on. Let's go. Off, please. Off.
Edinburgh started the season 4 out of 4. It could end here after 7 games with 4 out of 7. Well, the time is ticking away. They are masters of wasting time, Munster, and the clock is evaporating here.
Yeah, this is an unsatisfactory end to the game for Edinburgh. They probably don't deserve to win the game. Munster, cute as you'll ever would be, they wound the clock down to full time by doing nothing, and that was a soft hit. Genius stuff from Munster.
Well, Edinburgh are trying to drive through, but Munster through CJ Stander is on the attack. He's trying to come through. It's a great tap tackle, but Munster are going to try and finish with a flourish, but here's a chance for Edinburgh. The interception, Damien Hoyland trying to get away from Keatley. He's still going. Damien Hoyland. If Edinburgh get this out wide, they're going to win it. Edinburgh send it all the way wide. Canton Brown make it through. Brown pushes it forward. Here's a chance for Strauss. Strauss back inside to Hoyland. Edinburgh trying to drive it on. Even a penalty here for Edinburgh would give them a chance. What an ending to the match. Edinburgh with a chance now. Do they try and set up the drop goal? Here's Roddy Grant on the deck.
Come on, what an extraordinary end this would be.
Edinburgh pick and go again. They're driving on. What a victory this would be if Edinburgh could get there. Edinburgh being told to stay on their feet. Munster trying to drive. Will Edinburgh try for the drop goal? Will they just keep going with a pick and go?
They're asking the players to come, because the backs are now saying get the players across to the right hand side of the field.
Here they come again, trying to find a way through, pushing on. Edinburgh, Mano is there. Over it comes. Edinburgh hold on. They're getting into good position. Hidalgo Klein has been brought in. Ross Ford is at the base. They've been told to use it. There's a pod of 3 waiting. Edinburgh, they're certainly not setting up for a drop goal at the moment.
You're right. There's a drop goal chance or a penalty.
Well, they're right in front of the post now. Edinburgh should be thinking about the drop. The ball is out. They're trying to draw the penalty.
Yeah. What an incredible game.
Munster driving through. Munster have to be disciplined. Edinburgh have to try and hold on. The ball is back on the Edinburgh side.
Can you imagine how exhausted they are after 80 minutes, and this is what it's come down to, these last precious moments.
I'm still slightly surprised Edinburgh haven't set for a drop. There's Mano. Mano's going. Edinburgh 4 metres from victory here. Roddy Grant trying to hold up. Here's Sam Hidalgo Klein. Stumbles and falls. What an effort from the men in the camouflage jerseys. They're driving on.
Go left.
3.5 metres away, Edinburgh. They struggled.
There's no scrum half.
Yeah.
Well, if they touched it, that's a penalty.
Hoyland.
Are they going for the drop goal?
Hoyland, they will. Hidalgo Klein got charged down.
And then knocked it on.
It will end. Sam Hidalgo Klein was pulled back to take the drop goal. He was charged down. What an effort from Edinburgh. It ends though in disappointment.
He wasn't deep enough. He wasn't deep enough to get that away. That was an amazing end to the match. Edinburgh could have snuck it. He just wasn't deep enough in the pocket. Look, he was 10 metres back. They were on him in a flash. Good defending. Deserved to win Munster, I'm afraid.
Well, it was a night where Edinburgh fought hard, but it's their third consecutive defeat for Edinburgh in the Pro12. They will pick up a bonus point, but at the moment that is scant consolation. Hoyland went in to play scrum half. Sam Hidalgo Klein stepped back for the drop goal, but it wasn't to be. Well, what an ending to a match at Murrayfield. Edinburgh scored the best try of the match, find themselves falling short. And in the end, 2 penalties, one after 60, one after 67 minutes for Ian Keatley, were enough to take Munster back ahead of Edinburgh. It wasn't to be for the Capital Club in the end. Well, it's the very definition of a hard-fought battle, but it's Munster's 21st victory in 27 Pro12 matches against Edinburgh. It's narrower than it has been in the last couple of seasons when they've travelled over to the capital, but it ends in the same way. Munster going home with the points. Munster will move on to 27 points. They move second in the Pro12 table. Edinburgh move on to 18 points and they remain in mid-table. Anthony Foley and Munster are the happy ones. Alan Solomon is left to think what might have been. Full time for Murrayfield. Edinburgh 14, Munster 16. For John Beattie and myself, Paul Mitchell, thank you for watching on the BBC Alba.
Alan, how will you assess tonight's match after you get home tonight?
We should not have lost this game. It's absolutely clear to me. We should definitely not have lost it. We shot ourselves in the foot on a number of occasions, but I had a look at that penalty that won them the game, and there's no question. You look where the scrum is, a metre was stolen, and that kick just about went over the bar, and that to me is wrong. It's patently wrong. You should have taken that kick from where the mark was.
You're clearly disappointed with the result. How will you pick the players up after tonight?
That won't be difficult because we did some really, really good things. As I said, we shot ourselves in the foot on a number of occasions, and we lost to a penalty where a metre was clearly taken.
Massive difference in the second half. What did you say to the players in the dressing room to kick them into gear, if you like?
Our problem that we had in the first half is that we had no territory, and that was the difficulty that we had, either through a silly error which we committed or through penalties being given. Surprising, and our line-out had to sharpen up as well, which we did sharpen that up in the second half. And I thought that our scrum had the edge on them, yet we still got there were penalties and free kicks given against us.
Just lastly, Alan, you were playing with 14 men in the last few moments, but what does that say about the character that they showed to keep it going to the last moment?
Absolutely, we just had a hold on to that ball. Whether we would have got a penalty remains to be seen, but certainly I think that we would have got points over there, and unfortunately we decided to go for gold and go for the drop, and it was an error.
Thanks for your time, Alan.
Thanks very much.